And joining us in the studio to talk more about that is Eitan Yona, who's the Chief Marketing Officer of PrintSYSt here in Israel. Eitan, thank you so much. Firstly, tell us a little bit about what your company actually does.
PrintSYSt basically is a software solution that eliminates the complexities of using 3D printers. And nobody needs a knowledge with 3D printing. Simply upload a model and then you will be able to know everything about 3D printing.
And I see you brought something
Yes, this is a little not a gun, but a little
it's not a gun.
made from one of your printers, but about the size. So your company does software, actually makes it easier. So let me ask you a question. For a layman, someone who comes in and wants to try to print out and make one of these 3D plastic guns, how easy or not is that?
You know, when we think about it, 3D printing to print or start with this kind of technology is not that easy, and people need to have really big learning curve in order to print something, and it's very complicated, and I don't think it's that easy to use 3D printing in general. So I don't think that will be a good start for someone to just start with printing a gun.
How much of a concern really is this? Should, Israel be worried about people getting a hold of these printers and, say, going out and printing themselves a gun? Or is it sort of, are we making a bit of a mountain out of a molehill?
I think it's a kind of concern, but rather than that, I think besides it's very complicated, the Israel government know what to do with these kind of things. I think that we'll know how to manage this kind of situation, and again, it's not that easy to print, so it's cost a lot of money. If someone wants to print something, you need to have a kind of machine that costs a lot of money, and it's not that affordable.
How much money?
It comes to thousands of dollars, so it's not that easy.
But, we are dealing, for example, in Israel, you have terrorist groups that are always trying, or even individuals who want to carry out terror attacks, certainly may be willing to invest. Do you think this judge in the U.S. made a decision, which is a matter of debate, and it's about gun ownership and freedom of expression, that it should be illegal to actually publish these instructions for people to do it? And that's still being debated in the U.S. In Israel, is that something you think the government should try to do, regulate that kind of information?
I think that the 3D printing industry in general should take this as a concern and think about it before they are selling machines or materials, and there is a solution I think that we can find in the industry in order to improve our way how we act with the people and people who want to print guns.
And tell us, how did you get into this? Once you opened up your business, how long did it take you to actually, properly learn how to successfully create something such as this?
Yeah, so when I started my journey with 3D printing, it was very complicated. I think it took me something like half a year in order to print something. Just to download this and know all the parameters, it took me something like half a year only to understand.
Half a year, 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
And let me just ask you, how long does it actually take? Now, of course, I don't know. Printing out a gun, I guess, is more complicated than that little tank, but it is something around that same size. Actually, how long does it take for something like that to be made?
I think it can take something like hours, and again, not to mention the pre-printing processes that you need to know in order to print this kind of thing without using the right software.
Just hours, though, to actually make it. So that's not a long period of time if you have the right equipment.
Yeah, if you have the right equipment.
So what you're sort of saying is you really need to be trained up. It takes a long time to, say, train yourself up to possibly be able to print a gun when, you could probably go and buy one in that time.
Of course, exactly.
Source one somewhere else.
And are there any restrictions now, currently in Israel, on owning this, on printing? Could someone go out and just, if they had the money, buy this kind of 3D printing equipment?
I think that if someone really wants to buy this kind of 3D printer, it's not that can be someone from the street that wants to buy this kind of 3D printer machine. You need to have a lot of money because it's a high-end printer. So,
but it's legal. There's no legal restriction on it.
At this point, I'm not aware to a legal concern.
So what could be regulated? Could these blueprints be regulated, or the actual sale of these materials to use?
I think that in terms of materials, there is no legalization in this point that I'm aware of. So I think that there is a lot of things that's going to come up after this rule in the United States. So
we'll have to see and follow in the States.